October. Next month, somebody makes up for it, and it's way high. So same thing there. Probably somebody forgot, or just Pam's been calling around getting people to do their submissions. And so on the last page, you can see where our bottom line is at this point, which is at 65,000. And we have this year dedicated 16,000 for improvements. 16,000. 18,400. So there will be some left in the kitty for a big project in the future.
We could like pave a road or something.
Not with this money. Sorry.
I was kidding. It was in the paper, so.
Yes, yeah. We were doing that today, walking around and we'll get bids in a few weeks on roads. Totally off topic, but anyway.
The bridge is exciting. There's a possibility that that's going to get redone. Thank God.
Tourists will appreciate that.
Yes.
Bring it full circle.
Yes.
Probably every trucker that comes to town.
Yes. People will no longer have to hold their breath while they're crossing the bridge. It's exciting.
So no public is here, old business. Let's Jeff get started on his stuff. One of the main things that we wanted to start off with was the website. The state putting out there that they have additional grant money for what they call an MPD. It's a marketing program development. So it's not advertising, but it's something that helps promote the city. And ours is the website.
And certainly with the website, as we get into this and been discussing with a multitude of different companies who have certainly pitched to us to develop our website, to restructure it, make it much more sensitive to what the needs are for the tourist and potential consumer. So as we've taken a look at that, much of that, of course, is about the content development as well as the wireframe, and those are some things that as looking at it outside in for a while before I stepped into this position, but also once I got here and realizing that much of that can be done in-house. And that's something that I can do and have already started on, especially with the wireframe, which is the overall planning. And so with that, we're at least looking at the potential of having a consultant agency help us do that internally to save a drastic amount of money. Now, how much that will be exactly, we don't know until we actually take a look at all the nuts and bolts. But at this point in time, it's looking like about a 50% savings on what an overall monumental project would cost according to the other agencies that have pitched us. So 50% savings, regardless of what that final figure is significant. And obviously it would allow us to do a multitude of other things. So that's where we're looking at. That's a little bit different, but that's a lot more hands-on for me personally as we do the content writing ourselves, as we incorporate video and a number of other elements that we feel like it would be very beneficial and that the potential consumer has an interest in those areas.
Jeff, do you have any concerns about, while you're working on the website, about any of your other job duties falling to the wayside? Is there a plan? Or is this going to just take up part of your day and you're going to focus on other things as well?
The fact that it's an ongoing project is really the luxury that we have in doing this. Having had some experience in doing it, it's not like there's a great learning curve for me.
Okay.
So it actually, I think, will accelerate the program in getting what we hope to accomplish.
Okay.
So there are some other real benefits to that. Some of the other day-to-day duties, maybe folks at the Welcome Center certainly can be a big advantage, and when they have some time on their hands, especially at this time of the year when the numbers are slower, not as many people there, and so they can certainly be a benefit there.
Okay, great.
So we had $10,000 that the TTC put forward for the website. We had a $5,000 grant from the state prior to that we applied for and received for this. Now we have another $5,000, so we're at $20,000. And I think, as Jeff says, if you're looking at what a website's going to cost, if we're saving 50%, you're looking at a $40,000 website instead of just trying to struggle to get $20,000, which most websites are going to cost you 30 to 40 for quality.
To start.
To start, yeah.
That's the first phase.
And then maintenance every year. Maintenance we'll just build into the Welcome Center budget. That'll be fine. But if we get others to assist us with that, then we're just looking at extra stuff that we can put into the website and make it better.
Any other questions on the website? I'll talk about the rack cards then. Rack cards, we've been testing potential rack card redesign, a multitude of different overhauls for that, and so far we have tested that with a test group of about 500 people that are in an outer lying area, but somewhere within a 3-hour geographic drive to St. John. And so we're currently testing various points of interest that we have here in the community. And so that's, so far, it's quite overwhelming as to what resonates. And certainly with rack cards, it's taken into consideration not only what it looks like in full, but also the fact that in most cases, rack card is actually displayed with only a small portion of the top. So you really have only a few seconds to gain their interest and cause them to pick up the rack card before you can share other additional information. So that's where we are in testing that, and then we hope to have, by the end of the month, instead of a month-to-month for the rack cards, for their printing and distribution, we'll have a new design that we can roll out to that has thoroughly been tested as to give an impact that we need.
How far away are those distributed?
The rack cards are distributed specifically for I-55, 44. Those are the heaviest points of interest.
Okay.
Along 75, 75, is it?
I-70 or 64.
64 and 70. And so along the interstate, obviously the main thoroughfares, but they're pretty well all over the state, especially from the Boot Hill to St. Louis.
Okay.
One of the things that the TTC decided was not to put them inside the city of St. Louis. They said, let's put them and make sure it's on the routes that lead or can lead to St. Genevieve. That's the focus.
So that's kind of where we are with rack cards specifically. And of course, with Facebook, as we talked about a little bit in our conversation and coffee marketing meeting that we launched last Wednesday, was about 25 people turned out for that. That represented primarily it was all retailers, but there were a couple others that were involved with different nonprofit organizations. And so talking about marketing as a whole, Facebook being the number one platform in the world for social media. So we're still emphasizing Facebook quite a bit, utilizing a lot of aspects of how to reach an audience there. Did everyone see what we did specifically for the Holiday Christmas Festival video? Okay. Well, it looks like we have no signal, so let's take it back on.
You need to see it because it's really good. It'd make you want to come to St. Genevieve.
All right. So,
Of course, kids will tell you Facebook is for old people.
Facebook is about 3 billion people currently using that. We only need a small fraction of that to come to St. Genevieve each year. So instead of just building static graphics and continually doing that, so what you're about to see is about 40 hours of work writing a script, having it voiced, produced specifically for radio ads, in which we actually changed some of the marketing strategy a little bit for the Holiday Christmas Festival. Basically moving some of those dollars where we typically spent specifically in Memphis and moving those to target Cape Girardeau that we had never apparently ever spent any money in the radio market there, and it's only an hour away. So we felt like that was better spent. We also got a greater number of impressions, tremendous number of impressions more for a smaller budget. So that was a win. And then the results that we got is with people picking up the phone, there were vendors who called the radio station, also called the Welcome Center, who wanted to know how, and of course Annette with the organizer of the event, they were calling her to find out how they could get involved because they'd never heard of it before, even though we'd had 37 years of the Holiday Christmas Festival in Cape Girardeau and Sykeston area. We had other people who just had a great interest in coming here and actually enjoying the weekend. And so we know for a fact that did well. So we took that radio ad once it was produced, and then I created video to go along with that because obviously the static, there's so much advertising and impressions every day. If you go to a news feed and you scroll through and you spend 10 minutes on any social media platform, you're going to get a multitude of ads. So we knew it had to stand out. So this is the final product from a video perspective, and it has the audio that we use for the radio commercials.
On the first weekend in December, from across the land, a large crowd gathers in St. Genevieve, Missouri, when Christmas is at hand. Violins, guitars, cellos, pipe organs, saxophone, harps, and steel drums. Celtic, Baroque, country, jazz, classical, and pop Christmas music are reasons to come. Bring your entire family to the annual Holiday Christmas Festival for free concerts, choirs, and barbershop quartets. Don't miss the Saturday morning parade, free shuttle rides, free hot dogs for kids, and I've not shared the best yet. An appearance by Santa himself with free pictures is a delightful treat. And don't miss the tree lighting on Saturday night at 6, plus a live nativity right on Main Street. It's the 37th Annual Holiday Christmas Festival on December 4th and 5th in St. Genevieve, Missouri. For more information, go to visit stgenevieve.com. Produced in cooperation with the Missouri Division of Tourism.
So that was a video that we produced, and we got a tremendous amount of traction. The engagement rate on that was far better than anything else that we have done historically and since, quite honestly. So the fact that we boosted that, ran that ad, along with some others promoting just shopping local during that time period as well, but that one especially was was quite impactful.
Very nice. Is that, were those just all stock images?
Stock images and stock video.
Did we get video this year that you can use next year?
I've requested that prior to the event, and I don't know how much video that there would be, but I had hoped that we would have something. And moving forward, obviously that would entail us actually orchestrating a videographer to go to these events and to be part of that and actually get our own footage. So hopefully we can find video, our own local images that we can utilize for that to customize it. Obviously the stock images told the story and did well for the first time, but I'd like to redo that in the future.
Did you do that yourself?
I did.
It's very nice. I just worry about using stock stuff. And I know you have, I mean, we didn't have a choice, obviously, but obviously when you do get people here, you don't want to be like, well, this doesn't look like what I saw on TV, you know.
And
You get disappointed, and then that amplifies a message out too, that not the message we want.
absolutely, you have to be very careful about overselling. And so I was very careful not only in the writing, but also in what images that we showed. We certainly didn't show locations of something other than just immediately about a second and a half of crowd footage, just to start off the story. And everything else was fairly straightforward.
And that particular weekend, there really is all that kind of music.
Yes.
You know, I mean, there.
I don't think
Yeah.
that was untruthful. I
Yeah.
just,
No, I know what you mean, exactly. You know, I always felt that way about some of the brochures that have, you know, every picture in the brochure is, you know, costume dancers. It's like, well, when you come to St. Genevieve in the middle of July, you're not going to see anybody in a costume.
We do have to be mindful of not overselling or selling something that we can't provide. So those, just from a marketing standpoint, we do have to be very careful of that. So that's pretty much what I have under the old business heading there. A few aspects of
And I know you did the work on that. I think you could voice it too.
Well, I have voiced other things. At some point in time, and that'll be a discussion at some point where having the facilities to do that, and I know that I'll probably be voicing some things, and that's fine. This particular voice actor, I voiced commercials for him in exchange for this. He's in Las Vegas, and he's a voice actor who actually portrayed the Anthony Hopkins character as a narrator in the Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And so I remember that he had some experience doing that, so I borrowed his talents for our project. Traded that out.
Good. Barter when possible.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions?
Okay.
Anything else on old business?
No?
All right, new business, bike race.
New business is exactly what this is we've been in discussion with a group just by chance. From time to time, I actually search hashtags, and if you've followed any of the social media stuff, you see that I incorporate hashtags in almost anything and every post that we do. And from time to time, I want to know what we're associating ourselves with, so I will just look up and search one of the hashtags or multiples. So on this particular day, I searched a hashtag, just the hashtag St. Gen, and found that someone had just the day before posted some video from a bike ride that they did here in St. Genevieve. They used a GoPro on their helmet, and it was some very scenic footage. So I contacted him to find out if I could either use some of that video footage or all of it in its entirety or repost it. Started a conversation. And he began to share with me a little bit about how St. Genevieve was the perfect location for the fastest growing segment of cycling, which is gravel bike racing. And as it turned out, TrailNet, which is a company that organizes races all over the country, they're actually based in St. Louis, which is very convenient for us. And the fact that they had no idea that we had the perfect conditions for a race here in St. Genevieve was all the better, because then they became very excited in the conversations. There were some introductions, and Happy and I had conversations with their organizers and began exploring how can we bring a race here. And they were excited to have an open door for that. So we're working on, at this point in time, establishing a race. The date that we have targeted is April 9th for this year. So it's very aggressive and optimistic, but I think we can make that happen. We have a proposed course currently that would consist of over 90% of that would be on gravel, thanks to our levee system. And that's obviously had the intent of non-motorized vehicles on the levee, so this is perfect for what they're looking for and versus what we had to offer. They shared with us that the only place that they rode where it was in excess of 90% of gravel for their course was in Kansas. And the problem with Kansas is the fact that there's just no elevation challenges. Well, we obviously have that as well. So this already, they're terming this, one of their, as part of their branding is that it's the race is a classic. And the classic is reserved for the premier races throughout the country. And already that's the terminology they want to use there. So that's looking very positive at this point in time. There's still obviously some hurdles that we have to jump through. We're looking into the opportunity to bring, in their estimations, and those numbers have escalated a little bit since we originally talked to them. They're looking at conservatively 100 to 150 participants in the race. That number has grown, and I've checked with Toby, talked to him and shared him since he's now in Kansas, and asked about gravel racing there. And he said that there are actually some areas where they're capping that at 300 participants. That's how popular it is in some of those areas. So that's fantastic to know that they're actually having to put a cap on those participating. So that's very, very encouraging for us, and the fact that, again, the groups and organizations, and that is based as nearby as St. Louis, would mean that some of their estimates have now grown since they've started reaching out and just gauging that interest. Has now, I think the last estimate that he said was around 200, maybe in excess of 200 participants. So that means obviously they're bringing significant others and family members and others to the city. So this would be extremely beneficial for us in a very short amount of time. Some peripheral events. We've discussed having Friday night. This would be on a Saturday for the event, start time that morning, and that evening on Friday evening prior to, perhaps having some type of entertainment, some discount for the participants and their family members, whoever is registered, to encourage them to do some shopping prior to the race. Obviously, we'd ask them to stay around, but I think most of the information that we've gotten is that in most places, they come and they're much more willing to spend money and time in your community prior to the race, because after the race, then many of them have to go back to where they're going and they have to travel. So that's typically on a Saturday evening and a Sunday. And this is an 80-mile course that they proposed. with a half course option at the 40-mile mark. And it would begin and end here in St. Genevieve, extend throughout the county, through St. Mary, down into Perry County, crossing some state lines. So that's where Happy has been active in reaching out to some of the other entities that would be involved with that. So we hope to have more details on that very soon.
80 miles is a serious bike ride.
They told
And that's
us,
a legit ride.
they told us in our conversation that the bike ride would start, the race would start at 8, roll out of the city with a rolling escort up North Main to the Division is the proposed area now, and Division over to hit the levee. And they assume that some of the most competitive racers would be coming back shortly after noon. I told them it would be shortly after Tuesday when I came back if it was 80 miles. And then there would be a steady stream of
Right.
participants. And this is, in compared to some of the other races that I've been familiar with throughout the country in the past, some of those aren't nearly as inclusive and open. And this is very much so because it's new segment, fastest segment, growing segment in the country of cycling. They're encouraging people who have an interest to come and participate and ride alongside of those experienced racers, which I think is also very apropos for the community.
TrailNet will be coordinating volunteers or their staff throughout the course, providing signage for directions and all of that.
And those are some details that we're working on
Okay.
right now. Obviously, it's exactly what they're going to be providing. There will be opportunities, obviously, for some sponsorship for people who have an opportunity to, a business or organization that would like to participate. So we're working on the course and those logistics first and foremost. And they're supposed to be getting me some more details by the end of this week, actually.
We're going to look to close market for a portion of the day for that. So that will come to the board for the next meeting. Because they want everybody to group together. The starting point will be at Main and Market. And then that's also where we'll be coming through there to end it.
Sure.
Because it'll be electronic timing. All done through the computers now. So,
Great.
yeah. I wanted to do it in front of Nicole's place, but we said, that's not a great idea.
I love closing the street, so let's do it.
Only known.
Cool, that's good news.
So Sarah, are you going to be participating in the race?
I will. I'll have the shop open. I will participate in selling ice cream to my customers. I've been getting inquiries, people are starting to plan. Are you going to be open by, April 1st? Are you going to be open? We got 20 people coming to town. We don't want to come to you there. So people are thinking about moving around.
Yeah, so we're hoping to get, if we can do something the night before on that Friday, we can get people then to come in and stay overnight. So they'll be at the motel, they'll be at the B&Bs, Airbnbs. And if we have an overflow group, we can send them down to Perryville. They can stay there. They can do RVs if they want to do that. Trying to give them options. But this is where it stops and starts, and this is the focus. Yeah.
Anybody know anything about an antique mall? Yes? No?
We may know something.
It maybe is going to happen?
We may know something.
Ah.
We may have heard a thing or two.
There have been rumors.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine there are people that were displaced from St. Mary's that are looking for a retail space, yeah.
Yeah, they're still cleaning up from the mess. We drove by there last Saturday.
At St. Mary's?
At St. Mary's,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's- Yeah, that was sad.
So, all right, that's all we got for new business.
That's all I have.
Okay, anything for other business? Anybody have anything else they want to bring up, discuss, talk about?
Oh, just to also mention what we did last Thursday night, how NBC Sports ranked. And this was based on 320,000 reviews from golfers across the nation. And St. Genevieve Golf Club was ranked 42nd in the nation out of this incredibly rigid review process.
And that's one of three very important recognitions that we've had in the past few months. That one came just a few hours before the board meeting, which was great to add to being the number 2 location according to AAA for Christmas destinations in the U.S. And then USA Today also ranked us number 2 in the nation for small town cultural experiences. And so all of those are very, very important, and certainly national recognition is a very good thing in such a positive manner.
Well, they're going to mess around. I'm going to feel the need to be open all year.
Why don't you get a partner?
I'm good with some cold weather ice cream.
Yeah. I don't think you get many objections.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Well,
This
Sarah,
afternoon
you
it would have been nice.
Sarah,
Do it.
This afternoon it would have been nice.
Well, today there might have been, yeah. Say what?
maybe you do have Rocky Road, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe for the bike race, we can change the name to Gravel Road.
I'm hoping this year I have that the food supply is not so quite interrupted. Last year, I don't think there was 1 week that I got the ice cream that I ordered. I didn't get the flavors I ordered, I didn't get the amounts that I ordered. Did you have trouble with the cans?
Yeah, there you go.
Is it still going on? No.
Probably the same on your end too, isn't it?
Yes, we have trouble sourcing bottles and whatnot, yes.
I've heard the bottles are...
Bottles, especially bottles, yeah.
But I'm sure they got a whole lot cheaper this year, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah,
Every time you order it, I'm sure they're cheaper, right?
And speaking of food, I'm just curious, are we sold out for Choco Walk?
I do not know. Typically, it is sold out, but I'm not much involved in that at
Since
all.
that is February 5th. Same night as King's Ball for day.
No one tells me nothing.
Won't know that until probably next Tuesday. Downtown St. John has a meeting that day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I am going to plan an advance story on Choco Walk for the 3rd.
All right, anything else?
And the King's Ball never has any meetings or organization. They just have a ball.
They just do it, they have a ball.
It just happens.
They just have a ball.
Show up and hope for the best.
I'll also mention too, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, that the Missouri Department of Tourism Roadshow is coming to St. Genevieve on the 24th and 25th of February. And essentially there are about 6 locations that representatives from various aspects of the tourism, tourism directors, you mentioned visitors bureaus, touring around the state so that they can firsthand see and know better how to promote other aspects as visitors and tourism comes to the state. So that group and organization, we are their, I believe, their 2nd stop of the year, and so they're going to be here, and that would be about 150 of them on the Thursday evening. That'll include dinner, and then on Friday there will be meeting all day. That'll be going on at the community center, and we'll have some presentations there, and we'll have 5 minutes dedicated for us to essentially pitch St. Genevieve to all the others that are being represented.
Yeah, so we want to do something the night before to get people downtown, to show them what about St. Genevieve. It's just that many people, we couldn't find a space to really be able to
Get them there
get them.
before 5.
Yeah. I thought it was 8. But it's nice to be recognized for that and have it requested specifically from us to host it. So. All right,
Good.
that's it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking the time.